Well, we'll go back to Ali Lutz after this conversation, but just before the program, I spoke with Randall Robinson. He's the founder and past president of TransAfrica. He's currently a visiting law professor at Pennsylvania State University, though he goes home to St. Kitts tomorrow, where he lives. His most recent book is An Unbroken Agony, Haiti, From Revolution to the Kidnapping of a President. I began by just asking for his thoughts about the crisis right now in Haiti.
It's important in trying to find ways to help, to be generous and to give generously. I'd like to commend President Obama for his strong and fast response of a commitment of $100 million. Operations are already underway. I think the world is being incredibly generous, as I understand the pace of things to be at this point, the pace of giving. But of course, as many lives as can possibly be salvaged need to be salvaged as quickly as possible, and I have every reason to believe that the administration and others are doing the very best that they can. As a private citizen, it's my responsibility and our general responsibility to support every effort that's being made to save lives in Haiti.
Word is now President Preval has said they've just buried 7,000 bodies in a mass grave. But the most important thing right now is the search equipment to go in and to save people who are just hanging on, perhaps who've been crushed, who are hidden in the rubble. And yet that has yet to come. Some word is there's a lot of aid at the airport not able to get through, and then other aid just hasn't come.
Well, that's not surprising. It's hard for things to function when virtually all of the infrastructure has been destroyed. The Haitian government is unable to function, I would imagine, because it's under the same burden that all Haitians are under. The president's home has been destroyed. It's hard to get from point A to point B. Because the roads are blocked, petrol is not available, heavy equipment is not yet available. But in the spirit of Combi, the Haitian Creole word for collaboration and cooperation, Haitians are doing everything they can. They are resilient, industrious, courageous people. They're doing everything they can to save the lives of their fellows, and they're doing it thus far with very little, because it's taking a while for that kind of assistance to materialize.
President Obama has tapped President Clinton and former President George W. Bush to coordinate the aid relief to Haiti. I was wondering your thoughts on that.
Well, Amy, I'm of course troubled by that. I don't think this is the time, neither the time nor the place to discuss those things that have troubled me for a long time in the history of American policy towards Haiti. Now the focus must be upon the rescue efforts that are underway to save lives. But I hope that this experience, this disaster, causes American media to take a keener look at Haiti, at the Haitian people, at their wonderful creativity, at their art, at their culture and what they've had to bear. It has been described to the American people as a problem of their own making. Well, that's simply not the case. Haiti has been, of course, put upon by outside powers for its whole post-slavery history, from 1804 up until the present. Of course, President Bush was responsible for destroying Haitian democracy in 2004 when he and American forces abducted President Aristide and his wife, taking them off to Africa, and they are now in South Africa. President Clinton has largely sponsored a program of economic development that supports the idea of sweatshops. Haitians in Haiti today make 38 cents an hour. They don't make a high enough wage to pay for their lunch and transportation to and from work. But this is the kind of economic program that President Clinton has supported. I think that is sad that these two should be joined in this kind of effort. It sends, I think, the wrong kind of signal. But that is not what we should focus on now. We should focus on saving lives. But in the last analysis, I hope that American media will not just continue the refrain of Haiti being the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, but will come to ask the question, why? What distinguishes Haiti from the rest of the Caribbean? Why are the other countries like the country in which I live, St. Kitts, middle income and successful countries, and Haiti is mired in economic despair? What happened, and who's had a hand in it? If Haiti has been under a series of serial dictatorship, who armed the dictators? There are other hands in Haiti's problem. Of course, Haiti is responsible for some of its own failures, but probably not principally responsible. We need to know that. We need to be told the whole story of these wonderful, resilient, courageous, and industrious people. And we have not been told that. I would hope that this would be an opportunity for doing so.
In talking about President Bush, while most people may not know the role the U.S. played in the ouster of President Aristide, February 29, 2004, probably what would come to mind when there's any discussion of relief efforts is Katrina. Yes,
the problem of what happened in February 2004 continues. We had democracy in Haiti, and that democracy was blighted by the Bush administration. And now President Aristide's party is prohibited from participating in the electoral process. His party is the largest party in Haiti. And why should we be so afraid to let his party participate? If Haitian people don't want them, they won't vote for them. That is the very essence of democracy, that people get a chance to stand for election and the electorate gets a chance to make a decision. But we have obstructed that process in Haiti. We have done that under the Clinton administration, under the Bush administration, and that continues under the Obama administration. And that is indeed unfortunate. I am imploring American media to examine this in whole part in ways that media have failed to do so up until now.
This history, the two crises, the natural catastrophe that is the earthquake that the Red Cross is now saying they believe perhaps up to 50,000 people have died. And we're not talking about, just what has happened in the past, but what is currently happening. Who was just quoted, Lieutenant General Russell Honore, the retired general who took charge of relief efforts in New Orleans, said that aid should have arrived, said the U.S. military should have arrived in earthquake-devastated Haiti 24 hours earlier. Of course, as we know, people trapped under rubble, every minute counts.
Well, I'm not in a position to comment on that. I simply can't make an assessment of how fast or how slowly they arrived, or how soon they should have arrived, and so I will withhold comment on that.
Does it make you nervous to hear about U.S. soldiers on Haitian soil? If you can share a little more of the history of the United States and Haiti, or do you think this isn't the time to talk, for example, about 1915 to 1934, the first U.S. Marine occupation?
Well,
and then
I should think it would. I should think, Amy, it would make Haitians nervous under these circumstances. Of course, I'm sure that they understandably quite happy to see assistance from any quarter. But it was in 1915 that Woodrow Wilson, of course, with a force of American Marines, invaded and occupied Haiti until 1934. They seized land, redistributed it to American corporations, took control of the country, ran the country, collected customs duties for that period of time, and ran the country as if it were an American possession. But this has marked the relationship since Toussaint Louverture and an army of ex-slaves overthrew French rule in 1804. The French exacted, of course, reparations from the new free Black Republic of Haiti, bankrupting the country. The Vatican didn't recognize Haiti until the 1860s. The Western nations of the world, responding to a call for isolation and embargo from Thomas Jefferson, imposed sanctions on Haiti that lasted until the Emancipation Proclamation in the United States, of course, followed in the 20th century by President Wilson's occupation, and then by the dictatorial blight of Duvalier's papa and son and all of the other military generals that, of course, were armed by the United States. And so Haiti's plight up until this point has been, in some significant way, attributable to a bad and painful American, French, and Western policy that some believe is caused or described, motivated by Toussaint Louverture's victory over Napoleon. The French have never forgiven the Haitian people for this.
Former President Jean-Bertrand Aristide said he's ready to return to help rebuild his country in the wake of the devastating earthquake. Why can't he just return?